Well, Spooky, what are you doing in the sun? They say it's 96 out here with 105 heat index. Yeah, ain't no telling what it is in the sun. I just checked the carport. You know, our official weather station here in the deep south of Alabama, our little piece of paradise. And it says in the carport it's only 91. Yeah. So why aren't you in the carport, dude? Oh, you were waiting on Papa. Okay, clean up on aisle 3. Well, yeah, it's smoky hot. Whew, partly cloudy or partly sunny, as they say. It's a wonderful day here on the 21st of July, 2023. Hey, there you are, friends and family. So glad you could drop on by. And since you have, I've got something to talk about, something to show you. Yep, and right now the sun is dead overhead. Yep. Yeah, it doesn't go on Central Daylight Savings Time. It goes on God's time. Where it's 1 in the afternoon, man's time, it's 12 high noon. God's time. And let's go over here and check the south side driveway bed. Because we've done something new, because we had to, if we wanted it all to survive. Now, I don't know how long the GoPro's gonna hang in here. But you're gonna see here, we got a new structure. Yep, I spent the morning putting up that shade cloth. Yeah, it looks a little janky. It's sort of pieced together, you know, bamboo, tomato stakes, zip ties, bread ties, you name it. But you do what you got to do with what you got to do with. But the whole reason here that we had to do it, you can see right here. Well, there's Speedy checking out things for us too. You can see she's immediately going for the shade. You can see right here, our acorn squash plant is just starting to look like it's melting in the blazing southern sun. You can see our collards there, how they're starting to all curl up and droop on down. Well, this one here that's partially in that blazing sun, but if we go up under here, you'll see their leaves are much better. Here's a fine example of what's been going on. That's sun scald. That's where the leaf dried out so much. Yesterday, that part of the leaf died. Yep, it's called sun scald. Another problem we were having before we put up some shade, you see this tomato plant? You see the yellow leaves? That's not disease. This is that there Tammy G grape tomato. Nope, that's from overwatering. Yep, I'd water in the morning, and which should have been fine, but come about this time of day, everything would be wilting, looking much worse than even that squash looks now. And if you look at this tomato plant, you'll see remnants of tip burn and sun scald on its leaves as well. Here's a fine example. Here's a fine example right there. You see that? Where the tip of the leaves are all brown, dead, and burned up. Yep. So not only was the tomato plant dying from overwatering because we were suffocating its roots and causing them to die and rot, but its foliage was burning up. It was so hot. The Husky Cherry tomato was doing much better. And you can still see the cucumbers are wilting some, but this is nothing in comparison to what they'd be in the full sun. You can see the okra though isn't having a problem, but even it was starting to wilt just yesterday. And of course the beans were just curling up and becoming toast. Here you can see evidence of the same thing. Sun scald, leaf burn. It's just brittle and dry. That was from yesterday. And oh yeah, I watered in the morning quite adequately. And when I saw them about to die, I watered again to give them not only water, but to cool the soil and cool their feet and help them. The more water in the soil, the more their ability is to bring it up from the roots, and plants transpire, therefore losing moisture, especially more in the heat. If there's more moisture in the soil, they can afford to lose more through the transpiration process through the leaf pores. And down here we're going to see some other examples. Here the collards look fine. These green beans look fine. This squash here, well, you can see the part that's outside, the shade cloth. It's starting to get limp and wilt. It looks like it may die. I'm sure this leaf right here won't be coming back anytime soon. But you can just see it over there in the collards. The ones that are in the shade, in the foreground, and the one that's partially out in the sun. Not to mention our pot of garlic chives. It's all just wilting down. Let's see. Oh yeah. And it's quite moist in its pot. Now as soon as the sun heads on its way, it'll perk back up. But even you can see here the yellowness in the garlic chive leaves. It's not from lack of nutrients. It's from the overwatering, trying to keep them alive in this blazing sun and heat. And we're all experiencing it all over the USA and other countries too. So what can we do if we're gonna survive the summer of 2023? Well, all we can do is provide some shade. And that's exactly what I did with what I had. And you can see it's helping. It's not perfect, but it's definitely helping from yesterday. We moved our pots over here so they'll be out of the blazing sun for most of the afternoon. They'll get the late afternoon sun and the early morning sun too. But it's this right here that I wanted to check in with all of you and see how your garden's doing wherever you are in this big wide old world of ours. And it would appear we come out here to talk to our friends and family and somebody's cutting down trees. Not ours, I hope. But let's check and see. Well, as you can actually see, it was my trees being pruned all along the right-of-way there up on Mackenzie. Yep, I talked to the city workers and they'd been told to come on down through the neighborhoods and streets and cut down any low-lying limbs that may cause a problem with stuff like the buses, garbage trucks, and what have you. So we've got the claw truck here finishing up the job, picking up all the limbs that were cut down by the tree trimming crew from the city. It's a necessary thing that needs to be done to keep the right-of-way clear for vehicles to come and go. In fact, I was actually gonna get my ladder and my saws and do the very same thing next week. So hey, the city saved me some work and got her done today. No complaint here from me. You see, that's what's good about a small town. The city takes care of you, or at least it tries, in so many ways. So yeah, right in the middle of us, all having a chat over there on the south side driveway garden bed, you know, about the sun surviving and shade. City shows up to trim the trees along the right of way. Haven't seen that done in, I can't remember when. I actually normally do that myself. Keep them up above bus height and truck height, stuff of that nature. So I'm thankful that the city took care of it for us. I truly am. Hey, since you're here, let's take a look at what they did and how they did it. So they did do some trimming here on the big old pine. Yeah, looks like we got some picking up to do. It's always the way. Nothing biggie. Other than the fact that I just picked it up yesterday. Oh well, had I known, I would have let it be for today. Yes, I would have. And they came right down here where we had cleared back, you know, a few weeks past. And they trimmed up the limbs way up high. Like I say, so the garbage trucks and buses and what have you could make their way. Yeah, it looks pretty nice. I can't complain. Here again, I got to pick up a few things. But for the amount of work they saved me, it's well worth it. Fine folks we got working for us here in our little town of Tallahassee, Alabama. Yeah, I get a lot of complaints, but I'm not one to complain. I appreciate what they do, and I know how hard it is to keep us all happy. But hey, let's find some shade and get back to what we were discussing before we were gratefully interrupted today. Whew. You can see those cucumbers are starting to melt in the heat as well. Well, you can't cover up the entire world, can we? So y'all, we're over here on the back property line underneath the big old pines. Yep, found us some shade. As soon as we found the shade, the sun goes behind the clouds. But this particular phenomenon of everything wilting, you know, it starts around 10 o'clock every day, around 10, 11, and goes on to about 2 to 3. Basically covers when the sun's at its highest points in the sky during the day. Now, I have gardened all my entire life, and I farmed, and I have seen some wilting of my plants, but I worked a full-time job, 10, 12 plus more hours a day. I couldn't be here in the afternoon to, you know, water my plants to keep them alive, keep them from burning up in this type of heat. And I gardened all through the summer, even back then. So I know, even though nobody will say, something is quite different. And it's been different a while. The Inuits tried to call it out, but the scientists, as they're called, oh no, they weren't having it. You see, the Inuit people swear the sun actually sets, rises and sets differently than it has in the past decades before. And you know what? I've experienced some of that right here as well. Now, I worked nights for many years, and the sun did not come through my bedroom windows. Well, over the last, I don't know how long, maybe less than a decade or so, the sun has. You notice changes like that. I noticed it so much I even discussed it with my son. You know, I look up, based on NOAA's websites, cosmic radiation, UV, all of that. And yeah, of course, it's higher during the midday. But it doesn't appear, by what they're reporting, that it's any higher than any other time in the past years. I mean, this particular year, the sun is far more active than what they predicted. Some spot wise, CME wise, stuff of that nature wise. And I'm not going to get all into that there stuff people talk about and blame everything upon. I don't even want to hear it mentioned here. Yeah, we all know what it is. CC, C. Yeah. See, for the life of me, especially, being an educated engineer and all that, I don't understand how one little minuscule thing can cause everything I'm seeing when the big light bulb in the sky, when it comes on, all things change. And the longer it's on, the hotter it gets. But as soon as it goes down and the light turns off, the coolness comes back. Now, I gotta think, that big ball of fiery light up there in the sky above my head has more to do with things than everybody's giving it credit. Just my thought and my opinion too. But yeah, that south side garden bed, it's suffering from overwatering, and therefore it locks out all of its nutrients. The plants will die. And they'll die just from me trying to get them to survive the heat. Not so much the heat as the sunlight, as you saw, putting a shade cloth over it. That's 40% shade cloth. Makes all the difference in the world. And I keep standing up and I keep squatting down because I can't decide what to do, whether I want to sit on the ground. It's stifling out here, guys and girls, and everything looks fairly fine for today. But I think the key to surviving this summer, and maybe summers to come, will be to utilize the shade. Maybe not shade cloth, but where you plant. Rather than full sun, you plant in partial shade. Think about it. Start looking around your yard and property where you could plant in filtered light in partial shade in comparison to full sunlight. Just a thought, y'all. So hey, it's too darn hot out here to continue on. So why don't we all run on in the house, grab a cold drink or some sweet tea, or maybe a Faygo too, and sit back and relax in the cool AC. So hey, until the kitty crew, Cleo, Speedy, Spooky, sometimes Heathcliff, and little Gracie too. See y'all on that next video. Y'all take care out there. Stay safe, stay cool, stay hydrated. Take your minerals and their electrolytes too. Yeah. And as always, may God bless you as you have blessed those in your lives. Goodbye for now. Whew. Man, there's some shade right there. Whew. I'm gonna wet my cloth with some cool water, wrap it around my neck, and allow some evaporative cooling to take effect. Yeah, I am. And I'm just going to enjoy this breeze, the evaporation, the natural cooling. Ooh, it may not be perfect, but it's better than it was. And I'm sure all the plants appreciate it too. It was a lot of effort to do, just one man. But it's definitely helping. But what's in the shade looks far better than what's in the sun. And with that, we're going to head to the door and call this one done. Woo! Smoking hot, don't even describe it. I'm parched. I need a drink. I'm sure all of y'all do too. Later all.